This is the biggest wavelength tutorial out there. Elgato has a lot of great microphones or microphone adapting products like the Wave XLR or the Wave 1, Wave 3 microphones. And I'm going to show you how to use the Wave Link software from start to finish. So if you're a beginner trying to figure out the lay of the land, or if you're a professional trying to figure out the little tips and tricks that you can get with the Wave Link software. I'm going to show you how to install the software from start to finish, how to use it, just its basic functionality, or how to add plugins such as VSTs that make your voice sound better. I'm also going to show you how to set the software up with your favorite streaming app so you can set your audio to go to your streaming software and go into your live stream. My name is Murray. I'm a filmmaker, editor, and visual effects artist. I create tutorials online on how to build your brand or doing live streaming. So if that interests you, subscribe and stick around. Okay, so next what you're going to do is install WaveLink, which is a free software from Elgato. The link is down below in the description. Go ahead and install the software. Make sure that you disconnect your microphone when it prompts you to, and then finish the installation process. Then it comes to a point in the installation where it tells you to reconnect that microphone. Keep in mind this only refers to the Elgato Wave 1, the Wave 3, and the Wave XLR. So right now it's telling me to connect the Wave 1 or the Wave 3 or Wave XLR. So if I find it, there I've plugged in the USB-C, and now it's telling me that welcome to WaveLink, let's get started. First thing we're going to do is select your monitor output, which in my case, I've plugged my headphones into my microphone, so all of my audio is going to be sent to the microphone, which will go through the headphone jack into my headphones. So on screen, what I'm going to choose, instead of my local output, I'm going to choose my headphones, which is on the Elgato Wave 1 microphone. Once I've got that set up, I'll go to next. And right here, it's going to choose my Elgato Wave 1 microphone. So if I tap on the microphone, you'll see that on screen here, if I tap, you can see it's picking up this microphone right now. Now, if I put my headphones on, I should also be able to hear it if I unmute my headphones here. So if I increase this, I can hear my microphone or my voice going through my microphone and into my headset. I can choose to mute that so I don't have to listen to it if I don't want to. Next, I can add other channels. So let's click the add channel button. Let's choose my system because that's going to be my main computer audio. And let's also go ahead and add music. Let's say I want to add my browser and my voice chat. And it looks like 𝗘𝗟𝗚𝗘𝗧 is really enjoying this tutorial as well. So now once you've added the desired channels into your Wave Link software, which you can go ahead and add additional ones later. So we're going to do that and just click on next. Next, what we want to make sure is we route the correct audio to the correct app. Okay, so you can't do that just yet. So it's got the button right over here, open Windows sound settings, but let's say you have to come and adjust this later. Just go down to your taskbar, right click on the headphones icon, go to open sound settings. Now what I want to make sure that in my main system audio, I have my default set correctly. So for my output, I'm going to choose my headphones because I have my headphones in my microphone. If I have a separate set of headphones plugged into my main computer, I'm going to make sure to choose that output instead. For the input, I'm going to choose my mic in as the Elgato Wave 1. If you have the Elgato Wave 3, obviously you're going to choose that, or the Wave XLR. Now the first thing we want to do here is make sure that your music app is playing into the correct channel into WaveLink. So what you're going to do here is under the app volume section here, you're going to make sure that your music app shows up here, which is Spotify in my case. Now, if you don't see Spotify, make sure that you're actually playing music from Spotify in order for it to show up in your app volume settings here. So make sure that you have that set to WaveLink music, which is right over here. Now, when you connect Discord, it's a similar process to make it show up if you don't see it. Make sure Discord is open, and sometimes you might have to connect to voice in order for it to show up in your app volume settings here. Now, make sure that the output, which the top one here is set to your WaveLink voice chat at the bottom here, and make sure that the input is set to your microphone, which is right over here, mic in, Elgato Wave 1 in my case. Now we're not quite finished. Make sure when you go to your Discord, go to your user settings, then your voice and video right over here. You can see that it's already set to the defaults that we set in our audio settings right over here in the default input and output. But just in case, some people might have issues with this. Sometimes software can be finicky, so in case your input or output isn't working for Discord, make sure that you choose them manually here in Discord settings. So in the input settings here, if you choose the drop down, don't choose the WaveLink stream, because then your Discord team's gonna hear your game, they're gonna hear themselves again going back into their microphone or their headset, and they're also going to hear your music and everything else. So make sure you choose the mic in, which is the Elgato Wave 1 here in my case, or the Wave 3 or the XLR. Now in the output device, make sure you choose your Wave Link voice chat right over here. You got to scroll down. There's quite a few channels here that the Wave Link software gives you, which is super nice. You just got to scroll through a couple of them. So I'm going to choose the Wave Link voice chat, and then now everything, when I hear any audio in Discord, that'll show up in my Wave Link software. So now that I'm back to Wave Link, I'm going to go ahead and click next, and you can see that setup is now complete. Very straightforward, very easy to get things going. Now you can see that I've got my Elgato Wave 1 microphone set up here, and it's picking up my audio. I'm going to give that some audio treatment in just a little bit, but first you can also see there's music that I've showed up here from Spotify, which is currently playing. Now if I have voice chat here, which is my Discord, I can click the drop down and change this. So let's call this, we'll call that Discord, just so that it's easier to understand. You can see that the stream mix is the output for your stream. This is going to include all of these audio channels, put them into this one output so that you can send it to your stream. And the second output here in my output settings is the headphone jack. Now this can be any headphone output. You can be connected directly to your computer with your headset. I've got mine connected to the microphone, so make sure you choose the headphones, which is in the Elgato Wave 1 microphone. Now anything in this monitor mix will be going to my headphones. Anything in the stream mix will be going to my stream in OBS or whatever stream software you use. And essentially what this is doing is taking all of my audio channels and putting them into two outputs, one going to my headset so I can hear it, and one going to my stream so they can hear it. And I can choose to solo different ones. So right now I'm soloing my monitor mix, which is the one I want to be listening to. But let's say chat is hearing something that is abnormal. You can choose to listen to what the stream is hearing, and that's something that I can tell what stream is listening to. But I don't want to listen to my headphones or my microphone going into my headphones, so I've muted that in the Elgato microphone channel here, and that's why I'm not picking up anything here except the music, because I want to hear the music in my headset. Now one trick I can do is, let's say I want to let stream hear more of the music than me, because I'm assuming that I'm, let's say, playing Warzone and I don't want to hear music, but stream likes to listen to it. So I can increase that audio for stream, assuming I've unlocked the lock right here. I'm going to take it down for my headset. I don't want to hear it so much. Take it up for stream so they can still listen to music and jam out while I'm playing the game. And then if I lock that again, it'll adjust the audio channels accordingly. It'll keep them stuck to that difference that I've made. One other trick to note is that in your microphone here, assuming you're on your starting soon screen and you still have maybe 5 minutes left on the countdown, and you don't want your stream to hear you talking to your team on Discord. Let's say you're having that conversation during that starting soon screen, getting your team ready for the live stream to go live. So what you can do is mute your microphone to stream, so now stream is not going to hear my microphone with this button. Same thing with my Discord here. If I mute the stream Discord, they're not going to pick up my team's voice from Discord. Now don't forget to unmute both of these when you start the actual live stream after the starting soon screen, so they can again hear your microphone and your team. Let's make sure we set up our OBS audio so that we can route different audio channels to where they're supposed to go, so that your stream can hear your microphone and they can hear your game, music, and everything else. In addition, you should also be able to hear OBS, so like your alerts and any videos that you import into OBS. So now you can see that in OBS here, I've got music going through Spotify, as well as my microphone should be picking it up. You can see that the aux or mic aux here is not picking up any audio. Obviously that's a problem. So let's go to our settings on the right here, go to audio, and in the, let's just disable this for a second. In my desktop audio, I'm going to disable that because I don't want that enabled. Same thing for desktop audio too. What we're going to have is all of our audio, so our Discord, music, microphone, our game, any audio that happens on anything is going to go through one output on your Wave Link software. So in my mic auxiliary audio over here, it's been disabled. Let's choose the Wave Link stream. This is the stream mix, which is all of these audio channels put into one channel, which is going right into OBS. So let's apply that. Now you can see my microphone showing up in the OBS audio as well as the music. But you can see here, if I mute the music going to stream, it's not going to show up in OBS. But if I unmute that, music's going to show up. If I mute my microphone to stream, my microphone's not going to show up in OBS. But if I unmute that, now it's going to show up. Now what you're doing here essentially is turning Wave Link into your main audio mixer. So you're not going to have separate channels in OBS. You're just going to have one audio audio channel so that you can have your monitor mix, or your stream mix I should say, from Wave Link going into OBS, and control all of your audio from Wave Link, so you can make those fine adjustments before the audio goes into OBS or whatever stream software you use. And don't forget, I have a lot of content revolving around this video, so if you have the Wave 1 microphone or the Wave 3 microphone, or even if you have the Wave XLR, I do have videos on how to set them up and if it's worth buying. Links are in the top right or in the description below. Okay, so now here's where it gets a little complicated for people who don't understand audio treatment, but don't worry, I'm gonna walk you through it. We're gonna talk about VSTs, and what that stands for is Visual Studio Technology. You had the physical knobs to change what the audio sounds like. So we're gonna install things like that for digital or virtual software. Now these plugins will let you fine tune your audio for your microphone or any channel that you wanna add it to in your Wave Link software. Now I've included download links to the plugins that I'm gonna be talking about in the description below. Once you download those plugins, extract the file and install the program, make sure you install it in your local VST plugin folder. Now where that's located is usually in your local drive C, in your program files, and in a VST file. So there's VST3 and VST2 that these plugins work in, and let's just create a new folder. I'm going to call it VST2 because I already have a VST3. Now in the Wave Link software, hit the cog on the top right and you can choose to locate that VST folder that you've just created. Once you've chosen that VST2 folder, click OK. Now once you've installed all of your desired plugins for your VSTs, make sure that once you've set your custom VST folder, to rescan those folders, and it'll tell you if it found those new plugins you've just added. And in case it's missing any, you can choose to show scanned plugins and it'll show you everything that's here. Okay, so let's get started on treating your audio that's going into your microphone, which is going into the Wave Link software. So what you're going to do is click the audio VST button right over here. This is with all of your audio effects. Now currently with the current beta version, you can't reorder the plugins once you import them into this audio effects tab. So make sure to create them as you're using them so it works from top to bottom. The order does matter. And I'm going to show you how to do these in order. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a noise gate in. And essentially what a noise gate is it reduces to a set amount the audio of your microphone. So for example, if you set it to -20 dB, anything under -20 dB, you're not going to hear, or the microphone's going to cut that out. This is when you're not talking. So to better illustrate what I'm talking about, let's click the plus button. Let's go ahead to the dynamics here and add Renegade. So now you can see here under the detector section, you can choose how high you want to set that noise gate in order to cut out the audio. So if I stop talking, you can see it removes or doesn't activate my microphone. Now I want to reduce that to, while I'm talking, I can see that my microphone kind of hits around -20. So I'm going to set it to probably about -30 just in case. You want to make sure that it doesn't cut out your soft sounding words like P's or T's or S's. So just be aware of that. Now under the envelope section, I'm going to drag the attack to about 30 milliseconds. So within 30 milliseconds, it detects my voice. It's going to open that gate. I'm going to hold it for, let's say, 70 milliseconds. So what that means is it's going to hold my noise gate open for 70 milliseconds after I stop talking over my current -30 threshold right over here. And then the release time is how long it takes to go back down so that it's removed all of your audio out again after you've stopped talking. So I'm going to have that about maybe another 30 milliseconds. So in total, we're going to hit 100 milliseconds right over here. Okay, and that's all you have to do for the noise gate. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Click the VST button over here, or the audio effects. You can see that it shows up here, and I can go back and change it later with the settings button. Now the next plugin we're going to add is a De-Esser, which reduces the harshness of the S, X, T, or C sounds, so it doesn't sound so harsh and horrible on your ears. So let's go to the plus button and let's go ahead and add the De-Esser. Now I'm going to switch over to the OBS recording audio so you can hear a difference. I'm going to do a drastically complete difference of what this De-Esser does. So right now there's no Esser applied to the effects, and you can hear that the S, T, X, and C sounds are pretty harsh. But let's assume I reduce it, so you can see how much it does it, but the higher it is, the more muddy it's gonna get. So just be sure not to make it too harsh. Then with the intensity, I'm just going to set that to 7, and the sharpness I'm going to set to -7. Keep in mind that the lower this number is in the middle here on the processing, the harsher the De-Esser is going to be, or the stronger it's going to be. Okay, so that plugin's good to go. Let's go back and add another plugin. Now we want to make our audio sound pretty crisp and remove some of the muddiness, and also make some of the highs a little clearer too and more prominent. We also want to boost some of the lows so it adds a little bit more power and depth to our audio. So what we're going to do is go ahead and add a 𝗕𝗟𝗚𝗘𝗦𝗧. This is just an audio processing tool, so you can adjust what your audio sounds like. Okay, so the way this works is it works in bands. So essentially this is a band here, this is a band, this is a band, and this is a band. Currently it has 4, which does exactly what we want it to do. Make sure that on the first band, if we select it here, we turn it on, what we're gonna do is make it a sharp band. So essentially what that means is the Q value here is how harsh. So there's it's currently flat like this, but when I'm gonna drag it up, it's gonna slowly do this and look like a band. What I wanna do is the harsher the Q, the less of a open band it's gonna be. So it's essentially closing it to adjust more of a specific part in that band. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So right here, I'm gonna set the frequency to, let's say 115. So now you can see I'm adjusting the 150 Hertz region over here. And then what I'm gonna do is increase the gain to 3 dB. You can see that that band is now wide open. So we're gonna close it a bit and set this Q value to a 1. So it closes that band a little bit. And now you can hear that it adds a little bit of boost or strength to the deep part sounding of my voice. Next, what we want to do with the second band, if I turn this on, we're going to reduce some of the nasal sounds or the muddiness to my audio. So I'm going to have this frequency at, let's say 230 Hertz. I'm going to have the Q value again at 1. I'm going to take the gain down to about -0.5, just a little bit, just so that it's this part of the band is the nasal or muddy part of the audio. I'm just going to reduce it a little bit so it's not so obvious and prominent. Now, if I select band number 3, this is a little bit of your nasal sounds that you hear, but it's also part of your room sounds or room tone. So we're going to adjust it a little bit and take it out. So we're not going to make the Q value too strong. I'm going to leave it at 0.5. I'm going to put the frequency up to, let's say 1000. So we're going to adjust the kind of mid-range here. And then we're going to reduce the gain to about -1.5. And we're just reducing some of that muddy or some of the room tone as well, or the room sounds. Next, what we're going to do is go to band number 4, which is kind of in the highs here. We're going to add some clarity to some of our voice. So what I'm going to do is set the Q value to 0.6. The frequency I'm going to set to 32,000. Because I'm adjusting the high frequencies way up here. And then the gain I'm going to set to, let's say 4.5 dB. Now keep in mind that I've been doing all of this treatment with the setting in the top right here as off. You want to make sure that it's set to out so that you can actually hear the difference. So again, here's what it sounds like without all the audio settings. And then if I click the out, you can hear a little bit of the difference of what it sounds like. I can adjust it just to show you how much this actually makes of a difference. Now we're going to go ahead and add a limiter. So let's go and do Frontier. There's not a whole lot we're going to do here, but let's go ahead and set the release to fast. And I'm going to set the output level to, let's say -3. So any audio that I have is not going to go louder than -3. And then let's adjust the threshold. You don't want to do it too much and you don't want to do it too little. So having too little is going to add noise to your audio, and having it too high is going to distort it. So having a good guess of where to put that, let's put it at, let's say -8 dB, which you can see it in the bottom left here on the threshold. And my audio sounds really crisp and nice. So now that you have all of your audio effects in Wavelink, let me just show you how much of a difference this actually makes. So right here, I have my audio effects. If I click on here, and let's turn it off for the recording so you can hear the difference. So now it's off. I have no audio treatment to my microphone, so you can hear a little bit of the background noise, and my voice doesn't sound as crisp or clear. But now if I turn it on, you don't hear as much of the background noise, and my microphone or my mouth sounds much better. Now, if you want to set this all up with the dual PC or single PC stream, I also have videos on how to do that. Links are in the top right in the cards and links down below. And if you have further questions about it, I do live stream on Twitch. Link is down below, twitch.tv/murrayfrost. So from start to finish on how to get Elgato Wave Link set up and the little tips and tricks to become a more seasoned user and make it look like you've been using Wave Link for a long time. If this video was helpful or you found value, please leave a like, I'd really appreciate it. That would help the channel out. If you're new, subscribe and stick around for the future. I'll see you next time, but until then, make something great.
Little Christmas scar. Yeah, he's looking at me like,
Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Please.
can't you? Look how cute you are. You have to look at the camera. You can't look at me.
Help her. Grandmaster Greg, thank you for the follow. Poor kitty. She's like, I'm not enjoying this. Help! Get me out of here!
Kind of just like surrendered to it.
Yeah, get in the photo.